In a release that took me completely by surprise, Bulova have released 4 new oceanographers. They are called the Snorkel. I have all 4 versions to show you guys. These are in a hybrid ceramic case, so very similar to a bioceramic case. However, these are dive style watches, so I believe these are meant to compete with the 50 Fathoms swatch, or at least I believe they are. These are actual everyday watches. These get components that make them far better than the Swatch collaboration. And we'll talk about that during the video. So let's flip the camera and take a look at all 4 versions of the new Oceanographer Snorkel hands-on. So these were just released just a few days ago. These are the Oceanographer Snorkel by Bulova. These are a more affordable version of the 666 diver, a very classic 1970s diver, the Oceanographer. So this just says Snorkel on the dial, doesn't say Oceanographer or 666. We'll get back to that reason in just a few seconds. There is 4 different colors available. They are making 4 watches in this collection right now. I'm sure they will eventually expand this because I would imagine these will be somewhat popular. You're getting 4 colors. They're all inspired by marine life. And there are different case backs for each one of the watches depicting what they are actually inspired by. So there's the blue Tang, which is what I have in my hand. There's clownfish, that's the orange version. There's the shark, and then the green version that's hiding below this blue version is the sea turtle. I really like the sea turtle, and I really love the blue Tang. Obviously, I really like blue, so I think this looks really good. All that hybrid ceramic or bioceramic, whatever you want to call it, is a combination of ceramic and castor oil. That's really it. So you get a lot of the properties of ceramic, but it's also very lightweight. So you get very good scratch resistance. However, it's not as heavy as ceramic, and obviously it's an affordable material, so they're able to lower the prices on the watches, and these are actually very, very affordable. We'll talk about price in just a few minutes. Each one of them gets a different color dial and a wave pattern on that dial. The wave pattern is primarily at the bottom of the dial. There's sort of a horizon, and then the top of the dial doesn't really have a pattern on it. Each one of them has a different color bezel, and that is corresponding to the animal that they're inspired by that marine life. The straps here are rubber straps. They are tropic rubber straps, very vintage looking rubber straps in vibrant colors, except for, of course, that shark version, because that is in a gray color. But this is the sea turtle. It gets a silver and green bezel, and the bezel action on these, pretty good. Let's listen to that really quickly. Pretty decent, like I said, because essentially hybrid ceramic or bioceramic is very similar to plastic. I mean, it feels like plastic. It even kind of looks like plastic. So it does have a plasticky feel to it. But that being said, it's very, very solid. One of the reasons also it feels a little bit more solid than, say, you would get from the 50 Fathoms Swatch collaboration is because you're getting a sapphire crystal on this watch, where on those other collaborations, you are getting a plastic crystal. So this one is actually a sapphire crystal, so it feels a little bit more solid. Also, you are getting a metal case back that is screwed in, and you are getting a metal crown. So this is all in stainless steel. Also, the Tang buckle on here is made out of stainless steel. And it's not just a pressed Tang buckle, it's actually a very nice milled buckle. It looks really good. And here's the clownfish. This is the brightest out of the bunch. So you're getting a white case, orange bezel, silver bezel insert with black. You have an orange seconds hand and a white dial. Again, you're getting that same pattern. All of these are Lume, by the way, as well. I believe the seconds hands are not Lume, but we will do a Lume shot towards the end of the video. Bright orange strap on this one, so definitely the brightest out of the bunch. What could be my favorite out of the 4 watches is this. This is the shark. You're getting a gray dial, gray bezel insert with blue in there, so it looks really good. And then you have a gray case. It's somewhat of a light gray, and you're getting a white dial, very similar to that clownfish version. You get a gray strap on this one. The blue Tang could be the most popular, getting a beautiful blue dial on here. Again, with that pattern, it's loomed, you have applied indices. You're getting a blue bezel, silver insert with some yellow there that matches that yellow seconds hand. And then of course, a light blue case. The strap here in a darker blue, but it's a very blue look. I really like this one as well. Speaking of bioceramic, here is the Swatch 50 Fathoms on my 7.5-inch wrist. There are some major problems with this watch that you need to immediately address. You have to change out the strap immediately. There are no metal parts in this watch, so technically not a watch that's going to last a lifetime. Also, you can't service this watch. There are a few people out there who have done some servicing on these, but if you try and do it, you essentially ruin the watch. You can't really sell it as unaltered because it will be completely destroyed. You have to really put together the watch again, and it's not the same as it was prior to servicing. So that is a problem for these watches, and that goes for the Moon Swatch as well. That's unfortunate because these are very good looking watches. Some of the colorways like this one isn't the best, but I do really enjoy these watches. It looks like a 50 Fathoms, and of course it's not. I had to put this on a different strap because the strap was so terrible that came with this watch. And there it is on my 7.5-inch wrist. These are a 41mm watch is what they're saying on their website, but if you measure it at the case, it comes in at around 40.7. If you measure it at the bezel, it's around 39mm. You also have a very short lug to lug on this watch because of the case design. It comes in at around 44.2mm, so it will wear very well on smaller wrists. It's powered by a Miyota quartz movement, so this did not get an automatic movement. I would imagine they could put an 8 series movement in this watch and it would be slightly more expensive. I'm not sure why they went the route of a quartz movement, but that's what they did. Despite that, it's still on the thicker side, so it's around 14mm thick, just over 14mm thick, which is pretty thick when you consider that you're getting a quartz movement. However, you do get a sapphire crystal that is boxed and dome. So when you turn it on its side, you do see that extra height that it adds to the watch, but it doesn't wear thick on the wrist. And of course, the Oceanographer in general is very comfortable on my wrist. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. I think it looks great. So there are some advantages to this watch over the Swatch collaboration with Blancpain. Number one, you are getting metal parts. You're also getting a sapphire crystal. So just those two things alone, I think, make this a watch that you could wear on a daily basis. You get a metal crown and a metal case back, which is very important. You can service this watch, so you can switch out that movement if it ever breaks. Also, you are getting a sapphire crystal, like I said, so you are getting a watch that is durable. It gets 100 meters of water resistance, which is very similar to what you get from the Swatch Blancpain collaboration. Also, I do want to mention that the strap on here is a lot better. You're getting a very nice buckle, essentially what you would get from one of their watches that cost around $700 to $1,000. So this is a very nice strap that they put on here. It's definitely on par with more expensive watches, and it works really well, obviously, and you don't need to immediately switch this out. In fact, you can leave it on this strap and it would be fantastic. Price on this watch comes in at $350, so they are also undercutting the Swatch 50 Fathoms by $50. So that is actually pretty impressive when you think about it. You are getting a quartz movement while you are getting an automatic movement in the Swatch Blancpain collaboration, but that automatic movement, isn't the best in the world. It's not the most reliable, and if you ever want to service it, you won't be able to. Scratches and things like that will happen on the crystal because you're getting a plastic crystal and not a sapphire. So big differences between the two. I would say the 50 Fathoms is a more recognizable look, specifically for collectors, but I don't think this is a bad looking watch at all. I actually think these are very good looking, especially considering the price. And there is the Lume. The Lume isn't bad. It's actually pretty decently applied to the indices which look like they're applied, and I'll do plenty of close-ups of it. They could be embossed into the dial. I'm not entirely sure, and I couldn't find that information, but they look like they are applied, and they look pretty good. And again, the lume is decently applied to the hands and the indices. You do not have lume on the second hand. I love to see lume on the second hand. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. They do it with their other models. It would have made sense to put a little bit of lume on this second hand, especially because it's a nautical themed watch. $350 I think is a very good price. I think they could have shoehorned an 8 series Miyota movement in here, so that would be my only complaint. If they really wanted to compete against watches like the 50 Fathoms Swatch collaboration and other affordable watches out there like micro brands, this would have been great with an 8 series Miyota movement in there that hacks and hand winds. They put a quartz movement inside, which definitely is not a bad thing, and I think a lot of people would prefer a quartz movement over a very cheap automatic movement for servicing reasons and reliability reasons, which makes a lot of sense. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Will you be buying one of these? Tell me down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Do you like this better than the Swatch collaboration with the 50 Fathoms? Tell me down in the comments section. I'll put a link to these watches down in the description. If you're interested, definitely check out their website. $350 gets you a watch that is very good looking in my opinion. I wish that they also would make a darker case. I hope that they do that in the future. Something with a black case would look really good in this form, I think, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think, again, down in the comment section. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.